Hello everyone, thank you for being with us today. I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to explain to you an ongoing problem that we have done everything in the world we could to correct. We started out with education. In addition to education, we tried to be friendly. We tried to coach. We tried to counsel. We pled. We begged. We did everything we could in order to get people to comply on the lakes, on the chain of lakes, and specifically Lake Winterset, and even more specifically in the area they call the Point. We realize you go out on the boat to have fun. We realize you go out to be with your family. But there's a few people who do things that's so outrageous that it shocks the community. And let me give you some examples of conduct that we saw prior to just this weekend. And at one point in time, I did a video or a piece and showed a picture of someone defecating in someone's yard. And I got all of this, oh, but they were in the bushes and all that. You're in somebody's backyard going to the bathroom. And then we've got these pictures, okay? Now, I don't know if he's saying, hey, let me help you out of the tree. The private property sign, I guess they thought that was only for the bird. Maybe you should say, hello, Mom, what do you think? Or, this is up close and personal. Or, what about this? What are you doing? You playing hide and seek? That's interesting. Or maybe she's saying, do you need a beer? But she's whispering it to him real quiet like. You know what I'm saying? So this conduct is happening in the middle of the afternoon in people's backyards where they're trespassing, or on a boat where she's standing in the water adjacent to people's homes, where there are people who are trying to enjoy their own life, where there are people with children, and this kind of sexual activity is happening in the public. So we've tried to work with people, but the game's over. And I'll tell you why the game's over. I want to show you this sign. What we're going to talk about today happened on a lot where we have at least 15 of these signs. It's in an area of a vacant lot where they pull up to, and instead of staying in the water, where there's a loophole, as long as their feet are in the water, they can be at your back door. But then they get up onto people's property. You see, this sign says, by order of the sheriff. This is not a suggestion. So a week ago, we received a 911 call where there were a group of individuals who wants to be, again, being raucous and out of control and fighting. By the time the deputies arrived, they had fled. We chased down one boat, and there were two people there that said, hey, yeah, a couple of guys had a fight, but it's broken up and it's cool, and they wouldn't cooperate. But our Marine Patrol folks, who are the very best, got into this investigation because they created a significant disturbance once again. So I want to tell everyone, so Mom and Dad and friends can be very impressed. Here's who we've arrested. Now, let me go over this for you. These groups of people were at one time friends. And apparently back in March, there's a local bar called the El Rodeo Bar where a fight occurred, and there were some criminal charges filed. Well, some of the group didn't like the fact that there were criminal charges filed, and we're looking into tampering with evidence. But now, a week ago, at this disturbance, these folks kind of ended up at the Point. And it started with talking to each other and screaming and hollering at each other. And then they got to fighting up on the land. Oh, they were fighting. If you can see where part of the scrum occurred, there's one guy laying on the ground knocked out between two of our no trespassing signs. So our investigation took us to arrest them. Now we have Tim Gooding here. He's our sucker puncher. You know, he'll run up behind you and knock you out cold. He knocked another person out into the water. In addition to that, this Payton Ely, who's 19, we charged him by affidavit a couple of months ago when he called up Uber Eats, ordered some beer, and walked through people's yard out to the road to get the beer to go back to the lake. Listen to me, folks. This is long past a joking matter. We've coached, we've pled, we've begged, and once again, you see what we got. A bunch of kids have gone to jail. These guys are 23, 19, 21. Richard's 40. He's way old enough to know better. 22, 21, 21, and 17. Gavin Gooding is Tim Gooding's juvenile brother. So he picked up, in addition to riot, disorderly conduct, affray, he got a contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Nate Land, and once again, all these folks were friends at one time. The bottom line to this is you go, oh, what's the big deal? I want you to think about this. I want you to think that you go home this afternoon or this weekend, and you're in your backyard, and these folks, whether they're in boats or vehicles, pull up to the edge of your property, put on their music to blast, using the F word, with your children there, and that goes on all afternoon. And then they roll out in a big mob into your yard and fight. And you know, if you're not fighting, you can do other things that start with an F, like this in the yard. We're over it. Now, I'm going to give you one last warning. Our Marine Patrol people are going to be out there. Some you're going to see, some you're not going to see. But write this down in your little book. We're going to put people in jail this weekend for conduct that we previously tried to warn you about. So, go home and get your bond money together right now. You can carry it in your pocket. It'll help you get out of jail quicker. We're going to take you to jail, but also bring enough money, because we're going to tow your truck, we're going to tow your car, we're going to tow your wave runners, we're going to lock y'all up until you figure out that you can't misbehave in the community, that you can't fight, that you can't knock people unconscious. It's over, folks. It's over. You've taken advantage of our good nature of trying to allow people to enjoy the waterway, because I think it's important that you're with your family on the water doing family things. But when a group of these knuckleheads want to disrupt everyone else using the lake, that's not happening. Now, if you have 3 brain cells, you can read a no trespassing sign. When it says by order of the sheriff, that isn't a suggestion. And by the way, I want you to know this. If you want to go knuckle busting and create permanent brain injuries, or the ability to have a permanent brain injury, you can knuckle bust, you can create brain injuries to each other, but you have to do it on your own property without creating a disturbance to your neighbors. It's over, folks. I think I've said that enough. So the conduct is reprehensible, and obviously you don't believe us when we try to warn you. So you have unleashed the teeth of the dog, and now we're going to start biting you, just like we bit these guys here. Okay? Any questions? Okay, now well, let me show you the video. You may have more questions. Here's the video. Oh, there's the first one. Knocks him out into the water.
There's a child there on the boat.
There's lots of children around. One on the boat, watching all of that nonsense. At the end of the day, you're going to jail this weekend, just like these guys did. We're going to load you up.
Sheriff, your office recommended the county set up a swim area, vessel exclusion zone there. The county unanimously voted to approve it. It sounds like somewhere in the state, FWC has either held that up or rejected it.
What happens when you pass a county ordinance, and our Board of County Commissioners have been tremendous. We asked for a swim zone so we could help monitor this. They unanimously passed it. It has to be filed with the Secretary of State before it takes effect. They sent it to the Secretary of State. They had some questions about it. They sent it over FWC. FWC had some questions. FWC has sent it back to the county. My attorneys are meeting with the county attorneys today in order to see what it is that the state wants tweaked so we can put that in place. We're also going to work with the county to see if we can enhance the noise ordinance on the lake as well. We are doing what we can. We have historically tried to warn, to educate, because we want families together on our lakes having a good time together. But these kind of knuckleheads here doing this stuff just disrupts everything. And then you get in people's backyard. Look at this line of boats that's up to someone's backyard. Now imagine that. Imagine you're home this weekend and you can supplant cars for boats, and all of a sudden they pull up to the back property line of your house and blare their music and drink beer. How are you going to like that? And how is it good for the child on the boat to see that behavior? And it's a blessing that the guy was only knocked unconscious, that he did not sustain some significant injury or permanent injury.
Is it true there's no noise ordinance on boats as of now?
That's correct. We cover cars, we cover houses. Boats are more complicated because noise on a lake can skip and travel across the lake. So we have not had the need in the past, because when we asked people to turn the music down, they would turn the music down. But we have gotten to the point where some just don't want to comply with the law, so we're going to strengthen the law. But we've got plenty of laws. But these warnings and these education opportunities are going to turn into citations and physical arrest.
You said you have put out several warnings. How often are you guys called to this area to respond to incidents like this?
Every weekend.
And is this like the first time we've actually gotten video?
No, I mean, here's pictures that neighbors have sent us. We've got all kinds of pictures. We got pictures of people popping a squat in their hedges. Is that okay? Is that okay? Well, if you're a moron that thinks it is, you're a moron. And if you have trouble understanding what a moron is, look in the mirror and you can see one.
Sheriff, as long as these people stay in the water, are they going to still be allowed to pull up there and dock
When
their
this
boats?
ordinance passes, no. In these swim zones, they can only swim there. The boats will have to stay out of the swim zones. And that's part of what we're waiting on now. That will give us additional tools to deal with the issue.
So right now, as long as their feet are in the water, they can be in that area?
Absolutely.
And to clarify, there have been signs, but this sign is different because it says it's...
No, this sign's not,
Oh, it's the
there's
same.
been other signs, but we went in a while back on this man's property and helped install these signs to try to keep people out of or off of his property. And I'll be the first to tell you, someone gets hurt on this property, they'll try to sue this man. They'll try to sue him. Oh, I got hurt on your property. Well, I got 15 signs up, he's going to say. Why did you trespass? Well, I can assure you of one thing. You put one toe on that land this weekend, you're going to jail. You stand in the water and put your finger up on that dry land, and you're going to jail.
Sheriff, do you have an ETA on when the ordinance will be worked out with the state?
We've been working on this ordinance for a long time. Government does not work quickly. People who work for government have a 20 or 25-year retirement plan, and sometimes they want to use every bit of it before they get something done. I can tell you our Board of County Commissioners worked rapidly on it. Our county attorney worked rapidly on it, and now we're working through the government nuances, which is okay. But I would tell you now we're closer to having it done than we ever have been in the past.
Do these issues pop up every year around summer, or is this something you're just...
Oh, year-round, because Florida is a year-round state on the water.
You see a lot of open containers in the photos. I mean, you guys are going to be enforcing the open container laws and things like that?
We're going to enforce everything. Now, it's not against the law to pass gas in public. If it were, we'd arrest you for that too. But there's not going to be any more warnings. You're through and past our good nature. So plan to be arrested. Bring lots of bond money, because if you violate the law here, you're going to jail.
Do you have an average number of arrests that you guys have made just this past summer?
We've not made a lot of arrests. We've done a lot of education and a lot of warning and a lot of pleading. And the reality of it is, what you don't see here are families trying to enjoy this lake. They're trying to ski, they're trying to use their wave runners, they're obeying the law, and then you have people that are doing this sort of nonsense. Now, there's more investigation to occur. There's more criminal charges. I'm sure we're still identifying some of the people that were up on the property. But we've got the primary agitators right here. And now they've gone to jail.
So the two people that you guys were able to stop before they all fled, are they on that graphic?
Yes, they are. I believe they're on this graphic too. And once again, there's other investigation, or this investigation is still ongoing. All right? So, you can start on the lake this weekend and get you a nice suntan before we lock you up in the jail where we don't have any sun lamps. See y'all later.
Thanks so much.